Every morning, my alarm goes off just after sunrise, and I jump out of bed ready to tackle another day of filmmaking. Good personal hygiene is important for filmmakers, and so I take the time to brush my teeth for at least 5 minutes. Then, to keep my mind clear for creative inspiration, I meditate for an hour. I like to stay light on my feet in case something interesting comes up unexpectedly and needs to be documented, so I fast until lunch and just drink cup after cup of black coffee. Documentary filmmaking is a highly physical job, and so to be prepared for any situation, I adhere to a strict routine of calisthenics for strength and yoga for flexibility. When all that's done, I'm finally ready to head out into the world and start documenting. Okay, obviously that's a joke. I mean, who has time to brush their teeth every morning? Also joking. But in all seriousness, I found building routines into my daily life so important for keeping me motivated and on track as a freelance filmmaker. So today I wanted to take a minute to talk about the 6 main steps of my daily routine, what I do, and why incorporating similar habits in your own life might supercharge your creativity. Hey guys, welcome back. And if you're new here, my name is Luke Forsyth, and on this channel I teach the skills I've learned over 10 years working as a documentary filmmaker and photographer. First off, my life as a documentary filmmaker is more or less divided into 2 parts, my shooting life and my non-shooting life. When I'm working on an active project, all this stuff goes out the window and you're pretty much just holding on for dear life. I almost never film locally, and especially for international jobs, the schedule is all over the place, so it's impossible to maintain these routines on the road. I definitely try and keep up healthy habits as much as possible, but I'd be lying if I said I was disciplined enough to get up 2 hours before every call time to get in a workout and a journaling session. But when I'm between projects and at home, I change gears completely and get into my routines as quickly as possible. In the filmmaking world, unless you're a production manager or a finance person with a full-time job at a production company, odds are you're a freelancer. Waking up every day being in complete control of your time is one of the best things about this job in my opinion, and it's one of the main reasons why I don't think I could ever have a real job. But at the same time, if you don't find a way to give some structure to those days, you can easily fall into bad patterns that don't lend themselves well to being productive. Staying up till 4 in the morning watching Love Island might feel good in the moment, but when you stay in bed till noon the next day and then are too tired to work on your next pitch or start editing your project, it can start a nasty cycle where you're just killing time until the next job comes. Now don't get me wrong, downtime is important. I'm not suggesting you work all the time, and the point of life isn't maximum productivity. Actually, the opposite is true, and I think you have to build time into your life to unwind, or this job will drive you crazy. Go on vacation, have a night out with your friends, watch a movie with your girlfriend or boyfriend. These are all good things. I've gone through periods in my life where all I did was work, and it leads to burnout. With that said, most people out there are spending at least 40 hours a week working a job they may or may not like. And if you plan on going places with your filmmaking career, you're gonna have to work at it too. When I was starting out as a photographer, my mentor said to me, most people out there spend 5 days a week at a job they hate. If you aren't willing to do the same for a job you love, you'll never make it. That stuck with me over the years, and while I don't track my hours or anything like that, I do agree that creative careers like filmmaking are things that you really have to work at. Just sitting there and assuming that jobs will come to you doesn't work well in my experience, and the only way forwards is to make a little bit of progress every day. And this is why routines are so effective in my opinion. Okay, so how do you build routines in your life when you're not shooting, you might ask? I'm talking about doing a little bit every day, but what are you supposed to do if you're not filming? Isn't shooting the only thing that matters as a filmmaker? And to that, I'd say no, definitely not.
That's impossible!
To build a successful career as a filmmaker, you're gonna need to work hard. There's pitches to write, networking emails to send, scripts to plan, projects to edit, and so much more. The people who really succeed in these fields aren't the ones who just chill until the phone rings. They're the ones who are hustling and making things happen for themselves. As the saying goes, luck is the intersection of preparation and opportunity, and without preparation, you won't get those lucky breaks that you're always hearing about. But when no one is waiting for you to get to the office, how do you avoid putting everything off for just one more episode of your favorite show, or telling yourself that it's okay, you'll finish up that edit tomorrow? The answer, at least for me, is by sticking to a routine. The first thing I try to do on a normal non-shooting day is a quick 10 or 15 minute meditation. I know this is all the rage, and I'm guilty of jumping on that bandwagon about 7 years ago after hearing people talk about it on podcasts. I don't claim to have found much in the way of Zen or inner peace, But I don't think that's actually the point. There's no right or wrong way to meditate, and for me, meditation is just time to sit and live in the present moment. As filmmakers, it can be so easy to get caught up in thinking about the future, like, will our doc get into that film festival? Is that producer gonna give me the day rate I'm asking for? Is that replacement battery gonna get here in time for my next shoot? I'm as guilty of this as anyone. I'm constantly thinking about what comes next and how I'm gonna get what I want out of my career. But the problem is that the future isn't real. The only thing that's real is the present moment, and it's kind of entitled to assume that the future is gonna happen just like you want it to. Literally anything could happen between now and then, and it's pretty rare that things work out just like you think they will, no matter how much time you spend scheming. Something as simple as just sitting there quietly for 10 minutes helps to ground me, and it reminds me that I'm not just living to get to that next shoot, but it's what I do now, today, that matters. After that, I sit for somewhere between half an hour and an hour to read, and I'll read anything, fiction, nonfiction, memoirs, whatever. But for me, reading is one of the best ways to get my mind in storytelling mode. Filmmaking is really just professional storytelling, and books are the oldest way of recording stories that we have. Appreciating how others tell good stories inspires me in so many ways, and books have both given me inspiration for new projects and helped me to see new ways to tell my own stories. I don't read for any fixed amount of time, but I'll usually spend about an hour on this, or until I feel like stopping or hit the end of a chapter and it feels right. I don't read to a target number of books either. During the first 2 years of the pandemic, I got through almost a book a week when work was slow, and now that things are picking up, that number's way down. It doesn't have to be a competition. The point is to enjoy it and kickstart your creative brain. I find that when I stop reading for too long, I stop having as many ideas for projects or YouTube videos or anything. But when I'm reading regularly, I come up with ideas all the time. Once I put the book down, it's time to do some actual work. This is basically just a 2-hour window from 9 to 11 or so where I go to a coffee shop, stop looking at my phone, and chip away at whatever it is I'm working on. That could be writing a script for a YouTube video, editing a project, putting together a pitch for something, working on my book, or anything else that's creative. This is definitely not a time for answering emails or answering phone calls or any administrative stuff. This is the time to make stuff. I rarely spend more than 2 or 3 hours at deep work like this, and by that point, I'm not really thinking creatively anymore. It might not sound like much, but with just a few hours of effort every day, you can make some major progress in the long run. During the first year of the pandemic, I wrote a 500-page rough draft of a book in 2-hour increments, so don't make the mistake of thinking that if you can't spend a whole day on something, it's not worth even starting. Consistency is the key, and little bits add up to big things. Usually by about lunch, my brain is done, and I'll put away my computer and head home for the next part of the routine, which is some sort of exercise. I'm not going to try and tell you what days to do what exercises or how to design the ideal bro split weightlifting regimen, but staying active is, in my experience, one of the keys to being creative. When I sit for a whole weekend and binge watch the Formula One show on Netflix while eating pizza, I usually don't feel like I'm in a good mindset to sit down and write out a project proposal. But if I go for a long walk or go to the gym for an hour, I find I'm in a much better creative headspace. This isn't about getting jacked or having arms like Matt Diavella. It's about keeping your body happy so your mind can follow suit. On top of that, filmmaking, particularly documentary filmmaking, is a physical job, especially if you're the one holding the camera. If you want to be able to carry the camera and keep up with your subjects, you better not be running out of breath or needing a break every 10 minutes. And if you want to take those cool sounding jobs for National Geographic or whoever and go shoot in the rainforest or mountains or inside a volcano, you need to have some baseline of physical fitness. Whatever it is that works for you, walking, running, yoga, CrossFit, doesn't really matter, but try and get something physical into your life every day and it will have a very positive trickle-down effect in your creative output, I promise. When that's done, I try to set another 2-hour block or so for work. Because I need to trick my brain into going into work mode, I usually go to a coffee shop again. This is the time when I'll do all the admin stuff, because by afternoon, my creative brain is usually done for the day. I'll answer emails, do Zoom meetings, plan logistics, all the stuff that takes time, but not necessarily creativity. I can usually get it all out of the way in an hour or two. By this time, it's probably getting close to dinner time, and unless there's something really important to work on that has to get done, that's pretty much it for my workday. Then it's time to make plans with friends, or watch a movie, or read some more, whatever really. The last part of my routine usually happens later, closer to bedtime, when I'll sit down with a journaling app and just brain dump all my thoughts. I personally use an app called Day One, which is made specifically for journaling, but you can use anything, Apple Notes, or Microsoft Word, or a notebook and pen, it doesn't matter. The point of this is to just get it all out, the good and the bad. You're not writing blog posts or Instagram captions here, and you should write like no one else is ever gonna see it. What went well that day? What went terribly? What producer sent you a snarky email and made you mad? What's your partner doing that's driving you crazy? How good did it feel to get over a major storytelling hurdle in the edit? Anything is fair game here. The benefits of journaling have been talked about so much, I won't get too deep into it, but for me, being able to get my thoughts out of my mind and onto the page helps to settle my brain. It can be so easy to get trapped in our thoughts and they just bounce around all day and night, driving us crazy. Getting them out is so important, and for me, journaling is the best tool for calming it all down and putting things into perspective. I'll often come into new understandings about things I've been thinking about all day, or find the ability to empathize with another person's point of view I've had a disagreement with, and I don't think that would happen if I just kept thinking about it. Try it out for a month. I think you'll find it helps. And that's it. Those are the 6 systems and routines that I build into my non-shooting life that help to keep me grounded and productive while I'm waiting for the next shoot to start. Sometimes I'm just home for a week to do laundry and then take off again. Sometimes I can go months without a job. That's the freelance life, for better or for worse. But by having routines to fall back on during those slow times, I find I'm able to stay on track and keep chipping away at my goals. Let me know if you have routines of your own in the comments. I'm always curious what other people out there are doing to stay sane. I hope that was interesting and you might see some ways to incorporate routines of your own into your lives as filmmakers. You definitely don't need to do exactly what I do, and you should find your own routines that work for you. If you like that video, think about subscribing. It helps the channel out a lot. And if you did like it, check out this other video I made about the filmmaking style of none other than the godfather of YouTube filmmaking himself, Matt D'Avella. See ya.